You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thanks so much for joining me here today on this Friday review. We're about to get started with the best of the past week. We have so much going on. I can't wait to share that with you. Some great research on how to prevent breast cancer to the best of your ability using certain types of food. I want to go over 2 books that I said I would bring you on how to be happier in general, give more gratitude, how to rewire the brain. The great books. Can't wait to make those recommendations today. A new fitness tracker ring that I've been wearing over this past week that tracks not only your steps and your fitness level, but also your sleep at night. So I can't wait to share that with you. And then I have our super nutrient of the week. So today's super nutrient of the week, something I haven't gone over before, but one that we talk about quite a bit in my practice for everything from cardiovascular risks, arrhythmia with the heart, strokes. We talk about with diabetes, we talk about with energy, fatigue, muscle cramping, and mainly in blood pressure. So looking forward to sharing that with you today. So much going on. Let's talk about what's been happening over this past week. And that's really been the upcoming launch in just about 10 days or so, right around October 1st. We're going to be debuting the entry level, the introductory level of the Integrative Health Practitioner certification. So super excited about that. This is going to be level 1 and level 2 coming out within 6 months. So level 1 is coming out now, and then those who pass level 1 can take level 2. So, we've gotten so many questions on it, and we're always happy to answer those, whether it's on Instagram or us, mainly in our Facebook group right now, which is cabralsupportgroup.com. But for everyone, we've had over 500 people just sign up for a very specific list, which is the early bird notification list. And you're getting an email every 2 days that tells you exactly, what the course is all about, what the certification is all about, what track that you might want to take. So go to, if you can, stephencabral.com/959 if you have not signed up yet. All you have to do is you just go to the link. So you basically click on the link to learn more about Integrative Health Practitioner certification. There's a video that you can watch, just about 15 minutes, that tells you all about the certification. And then every 2 days, you can get a new email breaking it down by the different sections. Super excited about that. Early next week, we'll show you the entire website. So that's just being finished up right now. Literally, we're going to be inviting in our founding members, our charter members, 100 people only for the debut. We're going to take excellent care of them. We're going to walk them through essentially the certification. We're going to get their feedback. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We're literally creating a brand new health community, its own private Facebook group. And some of those people are already practitioners, right? So they're already personal trainers and chiropractors and acupuncturists and MDs and NDs and dietitians and nurse practitioners and yoga instructors and everyone under the sun that's practicing in the health and fitness field. And then some people are looking to become health coaches, and those people we will certify as an integrative health practitioner, which is a health coach. And then there will also be people taking the course that will not want to pass all of the different quizzes after each module, and they're just doing it for their own knowledge, right? To basically acquire more wisdom so that they can heal themselves, they can help with their family, they can help with their community, and that's great as well. So those people won't do the certification track, but I'll tell you right now that everyone who's part of our founding members, we will be offering 50% off. So stay tuned for that. If you're on the early bird notification list, you're basically first in line. We will send you an email 1 day before everyone else. So if you're interested, feel free to just go to stephencabral.com/959 and just pop your email right in the email box. You won't get any more than that. One email every other day, probably, for about 2 weeks they last or so. So that is that in the certification. So much more information to come. Just stay tuned on Instagram and on the podcast, of course. Okay, so next up, I want to say this last fall detox we did in our community was absolutely amazing. And it was a little bit of a challenge myself on Friday and Saturday of last week. And that's because I was out. I was at birthday parties. I was at an event. And that's the meal. Usually I'm doing definitely a flex meal or cheat meal, whatever you want to call it, once a week. And I enjoy it. I really do. I've worked hard to get my body healthy. I am healthy. I've been healthy for a long time now. And I still enjoy my favorite foods. And I do that without a doubt on a Friday or Saturday night. And so what I had to do, though, is I knew that I was a part of a community, that I was a part of a group where I needed to turn this obstacle, which is basically being at a birthday party where there's pizza everywhere, into a challenge for myself that I know I could stay strong on because I had other people doing it along with me, and that I could use this to talk about my experience and how I was able to kind of make it through by eating more salad and then more salad and basically filling up on that and really just feeling good about the experience and knowing that, in just a couple days, if I really want that, well, then I could have my own flex meal or cheat meal as well. So it was really nice doing this as a group. I love doing it seasonally. I've been doing it seasonally, a detox forever, before we even created a private Facebook group or community. I've been doing this for many, many years, and it's one of the things that has helped propel my health to the next level, and I see it work literally every single day in my practice. So don't wait, for the next seasonal detox in our group to come along. Just do it whenever you're ready. Remember, there's never a perfect time. I knew I was going to have an event to go to Friday night. I knew I was going to have a birthday party to go to on Saturday, but I did it anyway because there's just never a perfect time. There's never a perfect 7 days to complete it, or if it's your first one or you need a real reset, the 21 days is absolutely remarkable. That's what I started with, without a doubt. That was a catalyst for major change in my body, major change with resetting my inflammation and my immune system to the point where I dramatically lowered all allergies, histamines, etc. So it's been remarkable for me. I just really want to give a shout out to everyone that completed our fall detox. Thank you so much for following along inside the group and also for your comments and posting the different meals that you were having. It's absolutely fantastic to see those things. If you're not a part of CabralSupportGroup.com, feel free to check out it's just hashtag fall detox 2018, and you'll see all the different posts over those 7 days. Myself or one of my team members, we post every day. We take questions. We just provide feedback. We provide support when people might be struggling the first day or two, and then we get to see everybody turn around. By days 4, 5, 6, and 7. It really is remarkable, and we do invite you to join us on the next one. But of course, do one on your own now, and then you can join us. It won't be till January, so believe it or not, we're going to make it through this fall and early winter, at least here in the U.S., and then we'll do our next one in January, and then end of March, early April, and then right before 4th of July. And then back to September again. So that is how we do it. Those are our seasonal detoxes, working with Ayurvedic-based wisdom and, of course, the best of orthomolecular and functional medicine. So thank you again. Now let's move on to some research that Dr. Gottfried posted. I'm going to almost read it verbatim. And the reason was it was a nice little post. It gives you a great place to get started and to understand that we do know a lot of the ways to turn genes on and off. And the problem is right now, with a lot of these crazy fad diets that are going around, they've been going around, honestly, since like the 70s. So it's not going to stop. You just have to understand. And after you read this, you'll know my same philosophy has never changed. It's always been the same since I've been practicing. And that's because I studied all over the world. And a lot of times, just they're not doing crazy fad diets. And they always know that of what has worked over thousands of years. And we just have to be more diligent because of all the toxins in our environment. So essentially, Dr. Gottfried wrote, we're forming microscopic clusters of cancer all the time. Autopsy studies of women who died in car accidents have shown that 40% of women between the ages of 40 and 50 have microscopic cancers in their breasts. About 50% of men between the ages of 50 and 60 have microscopic cancers in their prostate. 100% of us by age 70 have microscopic cancers in our thyroid. How do you determine whether the cancer grows? The way that you eat, move, think, sleep, socialize, and supplement. The biggest lifestyle factor? Food. Diet alone can modulate your risk of cancer by 30 to 35%. We used to think that we had to eradicate every cancer cell. Now we know that the neighborhood of those cancer cells matters too. Create a good neighborhood by eating 1 to 2 pounds of vegetables per day, anti-inflammatory protein and slow carbs, and plant-based fats. as well as getting 30 minutes of physical activity most days of the week and at least 7 hours of sleep every night. Hang out with benevolent people who support your health goals, break up with sugar, alcohol, and excess quantities of food, practice intermittent fasting, meditation, yoga, gratitude. What else helps you? Tag. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, that was one little Instagram post, and I couldn't agree with it more. Like, literally, the goal is to work with your body. The goal is not to just go in and just try to say, we're going to kill this cancer. No, cancer cells are always forming. We saw them forming when they looked at Egyptian mummies 2,000 years ago. So you have to understand, but people weren't dying of cancer back then. And you can say, oh, well, they didn't live as long. They did. Like, you have to understand, that's a myth. People did live till their 70s and 80s that long ago. It's just the majority of people didn't, whether it was starvation or overwork or plague or, again, the life expectancy was way down because of not living past childbirth and infant mortality. So you have to understand is like numbers are skewed and people will use it to the best of their agenda, meaning like not always in a positive way. So I just want to repeat that. What was it? It was basically 2 pounds of vegetables every single day. And that always goes back to, I did a podcast called The Foundation of All Diets, and I do recommend that you listen to that if you're able to. And it talks about that you have to be eating 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. You have to be. I mean, that is the way. You can say, oh, no, it should be predominantly high fat. No, it shouldn't. And every functional medicine practitioner, like that's really studied the longest lived people and the healthiest people that are not into all these fad diets. Look at the blue zones. Look at all of the different real research studies. You will see that they were eating majority of plants. Now, it might have been root vegetables like the purple potatoes of the Okinawans, or it might have been less green leafies, but more of even things like sea moss that they studied. But it was always plant-based. It was always plant-based. The majority of your diet should be plants, fruits, and vegetables. Now, you can say, well, I don't like those high glycemic fruits. Totally fine. You have cherries, you have blackberries, you have blueberries, you have cranberries, you have like all sorts of different berries that you're welcome to eat that are low glycemic. How about kiwis? Like those are still great, right? So you can eat those. And again, you could just do, let's say, 2 cups of fruit if you'd like per day, and the rest can be vegetables. For those people, such as my dad, who will not eat vegetables, my dad literally will not eat vegetables, no matter how much we tell him that this is how you stay healthy, this is how you get healthy. He just won't eat them. That's just the way it is. And so what do? Well, we do the daily fruit and vegetable powder. That's what we do. Try to sneak it in there. And that is going to give you about 3 servings of fruit and vegetables right there. So if you do 2 of those, you're at 6. So that's a good thing. It's 22 organic fruits and vegetables. If that's the best that you can do, then do that. Honestly, do that. And in the future, we're going to come out with the capsules as well for the people who won't even do the powder. But you have to get in your fruits and vegetables any way that you can. Now, whole fruits and vegetables are always best. I do the daily fruit and vegetable powder every day, but it's in addition to me literally having 2 cups of berries with my breakfast, and that's 2 full cups. And then for my lunch, I'm doing 2 to 3 cups, usually 3, of vegetables, always broccoli in there, a lot of times cauliflower, sometimes carrots. And then I'm doing some sweet potatoes or yams in there. And a lot of the same at dinner. I might do asparagus at dinner. Last night I had spinach. The night before I had bok choy. And that is where I'm getting basically 3 cups at each meal. So I'm at 9 cups per day, right? 7 and 9. I'm at 9 cups per day. Some is fruit and some is vegetables. So it's just a great way to do it. And she also wrote plant-based fats, which is super important. You have to understand that avocados and olive oil and olives are still better than all of the butters and things like that. Now, I'm not saying you can't have some. You can have some ghee and grass-fed butter, and you can have some coconut oil or coconut cream. You can't go to excesses, though. In this Western-based culture, we love to take things to excess. We have to be careful with those things. Okay, I want to move on, but thank you to Dr. Gottfried for posting that. I think it was remarkable for both breast and prostate-based cancer. So, gratitude books, and how to rewire the brain. All right, the first one is called Thanks by Robert Emmons. So Robert Emmons wrote this book called Thanks. Very simple looking cover, just a nice light blue cover. I'm going to link all of these up today at StephenCabral.com/959. All right, so 959. Love this book. Just 5 pages in, I posted on Instagram when I was reading this actually in Maine. And he writes right here, from this angle, Gratitude is more than a feeling. It requires a willingness to recognize that one has been the beneficiary of someone's kindness and that the benefactor has intentionally provided a benefit, often incurring some personal cost, and that the benefit has value in the eyes of the beneficiary. Gratitude implies humility, a recognition that we could not be who we are or where we are in life without the contribution of others. Gratitude also implies a recognition that it is possible for other forces to act toward us with beneficial, selfless motives. In a world that was nothing but injustice and cruelty, there would be no possibility of gratitude. Being grateful is an acknowledgement that there are good and enjoyable things in the world. I loved seeing that. If you can just read that paragraph, just on page 5, that's why I wrote, I was like, the book is already worth it just based on page 5. Because you're looking at it, meaning like, I'm where I am today, and I live a very happy life. I really do. Now, I have my down moments. There's no doubt about that. And sometimes it's once a day, sometimes multiple times a day. But I pull myself back out. And the reason I do is because I'm incredibly grateful for everything that I have in my life. And that took a lot of time. I shouldn't say a lot of time, but that took a lot of reprogramming for my strange brain to get. And that's because I didn't do it all on my own, that even the people who hurt me in some way allowed me then to really connect with all the people later in life who were helping me. The first functional medicine doctor I ever met who introduced me to functional medicine lab testing. So grateful for that. I mean, I'm doing it today. I'm literally doing the same labs that he had me do with the hair tissue mineral analysis and the adrenal hormone test. Like, how amazing is that? And the food sensitivity test, absolutely amazing. The stool test, I did all of those with him. I mean, it's mind-blowing. And then my mentor who taught me in depth about how to integrate these forms of medicine with functional medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. And then I got to intern all around the world and I got to see not only, amazing hospitals and clinics, but I got to see other cultures. And that taught me a lot as well. And so, I have down moments, but at the same time, then I could just look around me and just say, how blessed am I? How grateful am I to be able to live this life? And it's because of a lot of times the compassion of others, that were really there for me when I was at my lowest. So a great book for that. It's not a long book. I need to start writing shorter books. It's 200 pages. Great book. It also talks about your happiness set point in life, meaning that this is an interesting comment. Let me touch on it briefly. So the author believes that everyone is born, now he takes this from certain studies, with a certain level of happiness, and that's at about 50%. And about 40% can be recalibrated to become happier. And 10% is based on life circumstances, which I agree with. Meaning 10% of the time, it's not really in my control. Things happen to me, right? But I can also look at it as they happen for me. And that's another way to look at it. And that's just a new way that I've been able to reprogram my mind. Things have happened in relationships and family and my career and all sorts of things where I'm like, this is the end. This is terrible. And then I'm like, oh, wow, because that door closed, this one opened. So it's just another way to look at it. And also, I just see in other people, and especially in children, some kids are happier than others. They seem to be born that way. They really do. And that's the nature part of things. But the nurture is also, you can teach yourself to be much happier. And that's what I believe. I believe that I have more of that Pitta-based mindset. I was, if people who believe in astrology, I'm the Aries fire sign. And, I grew up with a hot temper. I was the oldest born. Every one of my family's 18 months apart. There's 4 of us kids. I think that there was maybe a competition for attention and all of those things. I don't know that I was the happiest child, and I had to, again, rewire that, and now I'm a very happy adult. So there's hope for all of us. If I made it through, you can as well. So great book. Check that out. And then the second book, I have to thank Ryan Moran, a friend of mine from Austin, Texas, great guy, runs an amazing entrepreneurship group. And check him out if you've never heard of Ryan Moran. And he recommended a book called Habits of a Happy Brain. And it says, retrain your brain to boost your serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphin levels. So Ryan does book recommendations, I believe, once a week. And he recommended this book. And I'm like, I've never heard of this book before. And that I enjoy reading. So right away, he recommended it. I purchased it. I said, why not? I'd love to read. I'm going to check this book out. Again, only about 200 pages. I need to start writing 200-page books. I'm telling you, that they're just easy to read. I read both of these books in a day. And again, you don't have to be the obsessive type personality that I am. But this was one of the easiest books that I read. Thanks is a little smaller text, but again, it's only 200 pages. This one's almost like a workbook. And it teaches you how to rewire the brain. Some interesting things that I liked is that it's not always trying to forget about your past. It's more like moving on to happier things. I haven't forgotten about my past. I allow it to be part of who I am, part of my character. I don't forget. But what I do is I focus on the future. And I love in this book, because Anthony Robbins has taught about this a bunch of times as well, and same with neuro-linguistic programming, is that you can retrain your brain through repetition over time, right? It's kind of like in martial arts. Before every single class, all we do is practice punches and kicks, like those types of things. Because it's through repetition that you get better at them, 10,000, 20,000 times. It's just over and over and over. So repetition in your brain can make you stronger as well and happier as well. But it's besides just the repetition, you can actually change in an instant if there's a powerful emotion behind it. That's what NLP teaches. That's what Tony Robbins teaches, and also what happens from trauma, those types of things as well. Well, the same type of thing that can hurt you in terms of trauma can also help you in terms of positive emotion. Check this book out, Habits of a Happy Brain by Loretta Graziano Bruning. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Both PhDs, both of those authors, really remarkable, and I can give recommendations for both of those. All right, I'll link them up today at stevencabral.com/959. All right. So the last one before we get to our super nutrient of the week, and I want to keep on time here, keep the podcast at 30 minutes, is that I've been wearing the Motiv ring for 1 week. All right. So I talked about this, I was showing it on Instagram stories last weekend, especially on the weekend. I have some downtime with my family, and I love doing the Instagram stories. During the week, it's one of those things, I run 4 different types of practices, and it's just super busy. And although I love, doing the stories and all of that, not always able to be as active. I can't answer all the emails. It's like when I get into work in the morning, it's work straight through. It's lunchtime. I breathe. I go for a walk. I enjoy a lunch, typically putting on some of my binaural beats, those types of things. I work, and then I go to the gym. I exercise. I kind of wash off the day. I'm home. It's dinner. It's bath time for the girls. It's read them a book. Then it's an hour to 90 minutes with my wife hanging out. And then it's bed. Like, the Monday through Friday, it's going through my routine just like most people. So the weekend, it's downtime, it's relaxation time, it's resetting that autonomic nervous system. So that's what I post mostly on Instagram. Check that out. I love connecting with people there. But this Motiv ring, you know what? I liked it way more than I thought I would, honestly, because I'm not a wearable technology guy. I don't have an Apple Watch because I'm worried about the EMFs, but I'm beginning to test them all. So first of all, the Motiv EMF is quite low. I tested it for electric EMFs, I tested it for magnetic EMFs, and I tested it for radiation. Put those up on Instagram. It passed on all 3. That was my first test. And then I wanted to see, well, what does this do? So it's great at tracking your steps. Not as great at tracking flights of stairs like your Apple phone would do, but great at keeping steps. It actually looks at activity levels, so you get to put in like when were you really active? When were you exercising, whether it was walking or whether it was at the gym, and you can put that in to make sure that you meet your active level for the day. That's super important to look at. Just like we heard about from Dr. Godfrey, 30 minutes minimum activity level per day. Well, you got to pop that into your phone. Hopefully that's some moderate exercise in there. And then, I was also worried that I would damage this ring at the gym. And, but it's made out of titanium, very lightweight titanium. It's very, very light, pretty much as light as my wedding ring, my wedding band, which I wear in the other hand. So, and then the inside is medical grade plastic, I believe. So what this does, let me give you why I wanted to test this out. I don't like wearing a bracelet. I just like wearing a regular watch, not the smart watch, because I don't want beeps all the time of my team's like Slack going off and all my emails. And I'm pinged a couple times a minute minimum. So I don't want all of that distraction. I don't want I'm getting that dopamine fix. I'm getting that, I don't want the cortisol level spiking every time that's into my wrist. So what this does, I basically don't know it's there, and I don't want a bracelet. I just wanted a ring. So the ring is so small, you basically forget it's there. And because I could go on and on about this for a while, it was water resistant. That was a feature I was worried about. I wore it to the gym, and I've worn it to the gym now 3 times, and I'll be wearing it today as well. And it's held up great. And again, it's waterproof to 165 feet. Wear it in the shower. I was really committed to wearing this and seeing that it was working accurately. And it is. Couple more reasons why I wanted to promote this ring. Okay, you don't have to carry your phone with you all the time to now track your steps. And it's a low EMF way to track your sleep at night. So you don't put your phone under the mattress. I don't think that that's a good idea. I think keeping your phone away from you is a great idea. So this keeps data stored in it for 2 days, and then it just works on Bluetooth. So when you're back to your phone, it syncs it back up on the free Motiv app. So I can absolutely recommend it. If you want a not wear a bracelet, not wear some other Apple Watch, not that I'm against those. I'm definitely not against them. I just don't want them myself. If you want a non-cumbersome thing that can help you track your activity and sleep, the Motiv ring is it. I'll tell you one more thing. The sleep tracker. So yes, it's great to count your steps and track your activity. What does that really do? Well, it makes you stay more active. That's a big thing. But honestly, the best thing this thing does, and it's not even marketed as that, it should be marketed as that, is it's a fantastic sleep tracker. It was literally on the money each night. I mean, it was remarkable. I'll tell you right now, they should market this as a sleep tracker, even more so than an activity tracker, because there's a lot of great activity trackers out there, but this is a fantastic sleep monitor. So you can track your sleep at night. I'll link it up today. It's just Motiv, M-O-T-I-V. I'll link it up at StephenCabral.com. $959 /959. All right. Our super nutrient of the week is potassium. And potassium is one of those minerals that we don't talk about too much, but it's something that we use from a functional medicine perspective in our practice each and every week. And that's because when we look at potassium, it's really, really important. A lot of people don't know this, but 98%, the majority of potassium is inside the cell. It's inside those cells, okay? So if we're looking at all of your cells having the potassium inside, well, we know that the majority then of the sodium is outside. And we've spoken about this before, because a lot of people who get edema and swelling, there's a problem with the sodium-potassium balance. Same with high blood pressure. Telling people not to eat salt when they have high blood pressure, sure, it can look like a good recommendation on the outside, but the problem is they have a cation and anion issue, meaning they have a cell membrane issue with keeping sodium out of the cells. And a lot of times that's because they're deficient in potassium, and it could be then they're at to go on diuretics, like when you have high blood pressure. But the truth is that you need to rebalance the body through electrolyte levels, that's calcium to magnesium and sodium to potassium. So what we're typically doing in higher blood pressure is we're increasing magnesium and we're increasing potassium. And we're doing that to help balance cell osmosis, but also sympathetic nervous system dominance. Because blood pressure, stroke, arterial-based constriction has a lot to do with autonomic nervous system drive. So it has to do with higher levels of adrenaline, higher levels of cortisol, arterial-based constriction, and at the same time, not enough potassium to keep sodium balanced. Because remember, it's all about balance of the body. The way that conventional medicine goes wrong and the way that they need to use pharmaceuticals is because they don't understand the pathophysiology of most diseases. And I'm not saying that I am this, high and mighty, whatever. I'm not. I've studied this from other amazing practitioners or teachers. I'm not in the lab, testing all of these things in cell biology and cell biochemistry. I'm taking the research. I'm trying to understand it at a human functional based level. I'm learning from amazing bioregulatory and natural hygienists from about 100 to 150 years ago when real medicine was being practiced. And then I'm taking that and using it in clinical practice, and I see it work every single day. And so, one of the remarkable things about potassium is that it helps reduce cardiovascular risk. It helps reduce blood pressure-based issues. It helps reduce diabetes. It improves kidney function. It lowers risk for osteoporosis. It helps with keeping lean muscle mass on and edema down. It promotes healthy antioxidant levels and balancing the immune systems. It works with boosting more blood flow to the brain and decreasing Alzheimer's-based issues. Helps with periodontal and gum disease. Works with rheumatoid and certain types of arthritis based on pain. I'll tell you, a lot of this is circulation and understanding that you're not going to have the high blood pressure, the cardiovascular-based disease, and the chance of stroke and those things if there's vasodilation, if there's relaxation of the muscles and arteries and the blood can flow properly. So we don't do a lot with supplementation with potassium, except that we recommend the daily fruit and vegetable blend to all people with cardiovascular-based issues, those trying to get more potassium in. So daily fruit and vegetable blend we're absolutely recommending. And the daily nutritional support has a great balance between sodium, potassium, and calcium, magnesium. The full spectrum magnesium, of course, we're going to use with people. We'll use the adrenal soothe to bring down cortisol levels. I'll be teaching more of this in the future for high blood pressure as well. But we're really trying to get potassium through more foods. And those foods, I'm going to put up an image on today's podcast. But the foods are this. They're dried apricots, they're beans, they're kale, they're pumpkin seeds, they're chickpeas, they're prunes, spinach, almonds, hazelnuts, lentils, avocado, mushroom, potatoes, tomatoes, and bananas, right? So we always talk, I need my bananas for potassium. But believe it or not, dried apricots, beans, kale, pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, prunes, spinach, almonds, hazelnuts, and lentils all have twice as much potassium as bananas. So I'm going to link all of those up today. Want to give you that quick tidbit on our super nutrient of the week. Potassium is something that we need to get a lot of, and we need to get it through food. So, of course, you can get it through, like I said, some supplementation, but really focus on your whole foods. Take your supplementation as a fail-safe. That's why I recommend the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol. I do it myself every day as a fail-safe, and then I'm trying to get those 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. If you do that, you don't even have to worry about which dis-ease of the body it helps, because it helps them all. Thanks so much for tuning in today to another Friday Review, and I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow on our Community Cabral House Calls. Take care, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well, finally, is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing, and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now, at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.